Hello everyone, welcome to Rudra's Law classes. Today we are going to deal with Article 15. In the past two videos, we have already dealt with Article 12, 13 and Article 14. So today we are going to deal with Article 15 of the Constitution of India as a part of fundamental rights. Now, Article 15. What Article 15 is all about? To have a brief overview, you can go through the Article 15 on the Constitution of India. It states in Article 15, Clause 1, it states, the state shall not discriminate against any citizens on ground only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth or any of them. So we are going to segregate the entire Clause 1 into religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. So these are the things which are to be taken into consideration before thinking of Article 15 Clause 1. Now, Article 15 is basically with regard to non-discrimination. Non-discrimination on the basis of these criteria. Now, to clarify Article 15, you'll have to understand that this is an extension of Article 14, which we have already discussed. Article 14, what it said? It said that equality before law and equal protection of law. Equality before law is a negative concept and equal protection of law is a positive concept. So Article 15 basically is an extension of Article 14, wherein we are trying to give equality to people, but we shall not discriminate at the same time. So basically with regard to Article 15, so basically if it is for Article 14, if it is for Article 14, equal protection of law, this was a positive. Equal protection of law, this was a positive concept. Article 15(1) is basically an extension of Article 14 in the respect we are trying to bring in the equal protection of law through Article 15 as well. The criteria which are there mentioned, like race, caste, sex, place of birth, religion, these are the criteria wherein you have to take in consideration, keep in mind before differentiating people. Now, therefore, Article 15 fosters national identity. National identity in the sense race, caste, sex, religion. So differentiating and discriminating on the basis of these criteria would not foster the national identity. India is a big country having lot of different India is a big country having lot of ethos, values, different kind of religion, different kind of people. So in order to unite them, this clause was there inserted, and so in order to unite them, these clauses were very much important, right? In order to unite them, these clauses were introduced by the forefathers or fathers of the Constitution. But Article 15 is a narrow concept. Article 15 is narrower as compared to Article 14 by two measures. By two instances, we can say that Article 15 is narrower as compared to Article 14. Article 15 is limited to citizens. Article 14 is applied to not only citizens but as well as to non-citizens. But Article 15, it is limited to citizens only. Therefore, a person who is not a citizen is not eligible to get the benefits under Article 15 of the Constitution of India. And the second part which makes it narrower as compared to Article 14 is classification. That classification which we have been doing in Article 14, that classification we cannot do on the basis of the criteria as mentioned in Article 15 Clause 1, like religion, race, caste, sex. These are the criteria wherein we are limited, we are restricted to classify. Reasonable classification, which we have already discussed in Article 14, that we are unable to do in Article 15. Right. Therefore, these two parameters make Article 15 narrower to Article 14 of the Constitution of India, and this has been held in the case Valsamma Paul versus Cochin University. If you go to this case, you'll find that this has been stated by the Supreme Court of India. Now in DP Joshi versus State of Madhya Pradesh, it was stated that discrimination on the basis of residence is allowed. What we are thinking of is, if you go to the previous slide, where we'll find the criteria like religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. If it is with regard to residence, place of birth is not residence. A person might have born in one place and then he has been brought up in some other place. So place of birth is different as to place of residence, and therefore it was held that place of birth can be a criterion as stated in Article 15 Clause 1, but place of residence is not a criteria for discrimination, and therefore it was allowed. Now we'll come to Clause 2. Clause 2 is basically to eradicate certain customs prevailing in the society. Like before, we would have seen that a lot of people were restricted to use public places, specifically some kind of people like the one low in caste, the non-Brahmins. They were not allowed to use wells, tanks, water tanks, roads, common passages. They were restricted due to their casteism. Now this article was introduced in the constitution by the fathers of the constitution. They kept this in their mind. Why? Because they wanted to eradicate these customs to make them equal, like we have been studying with regard to the right to equality from Article 14 itself. Equality in a positive sense, and therefore it was really important to get these people such kind of benefit which was enjoyed by the other upper caste people, other upper caste people, right? So as I have mentioned that the objective of Article 15 Clause 2 was basically to eradicate the inequality in the society, and therefore would be to eradicate the customs prevailing in the society, the negative customs which were prevailing in the society. Now this was basically with regard to this Hindu caste system. The Hindu caste system didn't allow lower caste, the lower Hindu people as well, and some other people like Christians were there, Indian Christians and Indian Muslims were there, and then Harijans were there. So the Hindu caste system was a barrier for the improvement of the lower underprivileged people in the betterment of the society, and therefore for the betterment of the underprivileged, the people who were deprived, to eradicate the customs prevailing in the society, it was considered that we would not allow these people to be discriminated. Now what is Clause 2 saying? No citizen shall, on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth of any of them, disability, liability restrictions with regard to access to shops, public restaurants, hotels and places of public entertainment, the use of wells, tanks, bathing ghats, roads and places of public resort. So these are the places where generally people used to go. So these are the places where generally people used to go, but these places were restricted to the entry of the people who were lower in caste. Now, in order to eradicate this, this article was introduced wherein it allowed equal entry for all those underprivileged people, and it was very much mentioned in this particular case. You may take a note of this. So now we'll talk about clause 3 of article 15. Now what clause 3 is saying? It says nothing in this article shall prevent the state from making any special provision for women and children. So therefore, these two are the category of people who have been underprivileged, who are not granted certain kind of advantages at par with the men in the society, make them at par equal with the other part of the society. So this article was introduced. It says that women and children should be given special privilege and benefit. Now, if you think logically, now this clause is basically in contravention to clause 1. Clause 1 says there shall be no discrimination with regard to sex. Now, if it is there, then how come it is done? It is basically a rational differentiation as we have done in Article 14. Therefore, this discrimination is logical and rational. Therefore, two things need to be kept in mind while dealing with Article 15 Clause 3. One is exception to Article 15 and 15.1. One is Article 15.3 is as an exception to Article 15.1, as I have already mentioned that 15.3 gives special privilege to women and children, and therefore it is basically, this is the criterion, socio-economic backwardness. This women in particular were socially backward and economically backward. To make them or to uplift them, this was introduced. These are the criterions which basically have to be considered or kept in mind while dealing with Article 15 Clause 3. And the primary objective was to make women at par with men. And yet another thing, in this particular case, with regard to Article 15 Clause 3, we will find it has been stated that even 50% of reservation in favor of women will not be arbitrary. Therefore, as it is stated, exception to Article 15 Clause 1 and 2, it refers to second part of Article 14, which is the equal protection of law, and women and children fall under special provision. So therefore, there is an exemption for these two categories, and accordingly, this provision has been introduced in the Constitution of India, Article 15 Clause 3, so that women and children, they are given special privilege to upgrade them and uplift them at par with the men. Now I'll talk about Article 15 Clause 4. What is it saying? Nothing in this article or in Clause 2 of Article 29 shall prevent the state from making any special provision for the advancement of any socially and educationally backward classes of citizens or for the SC and STs. This Clause 4 was inserted under Constitution First Amendment after the decision of State of Madras versus Champakam Dorairajan. Now what this case dealt, it basically dealt that the non-Brahmins, the Harijans, the lower caste Brahmins who were underprivileged, if these people wanted to have benefit with regard to admission in institutions, they needed reservation. But Article 29 of the Constitution of India doesn't provide for that. Article 29 states that the state shall not discriminate on the basis of sex, caste, religion. Now caste is coming. So if caste is coming, therefore the lower caste people cannot get an advantage of reservation in educational institution. Therefore, this amendment was made after the decision of this particular case. After the decision of this particular case, wherein the court stated that the absence of Article 16 Clause 4 in Article 29 specifically denotes the intention of the makers of the Constitution that with regard to reservation, we are not supposed to reserve in the educational institution with regard to the caste, the lower caste people. And therefore, in order to effectuate that, in order to give a provision to that, this amendment was done in the first amendment of the Constitution, and accordingly Article 15 Clause 4 was inserted. Now you have a clear understanding why this Article 15 Clause 4 was inserted. It was basically done to upgrade the socially and educationally backward people. These people who are socially and educationally backward, they are backward. To upgrade them, a reservation To upgrade them, a reservation was required. Since a reservation was required, and since this reservation was going against this Article 29(2), therefore, in order to give it a parity, this clause was inserted into the Constitution to give them the benefit, to give the socially and educationally backward people a benefit. Now, it is pertinent to mention over here that SC and STs were given this benefit since they were socially and educationally backward, and to upgrade them and to give them the benefit of reservation in educational institution, Article 15 clause was inserted. This case is very important, Indira Sawhney versus Union of India. This case is commonly mentioned as Mandal Commission case, and two criteria is basically important in this particular case. One, who are socially backward. It was really important to identify who are actually socially backward, who are educationally backward, and from this case certain parameters were laid down. What is the limit of reservation? So there it was stated that 50% cannot cross. Reservation with regard to reservation cannot cross 50%. It was laid over there. Now, from the Indira Sawhney's case, it was very important to underline this Article 40, since this Article 340 basically contemplates on appointment of commission for this purpose, and therefore in the Indira Sawhney's case, the Mandal Commission was formed to identify and give a report with regard to the people and how to differentiate the people who are actually socially and educationally backward. Therefore, this Article 340 has to be taken into consideration while appointing a commission and taking a report from it. This case, M.R. Balaji versus State of Mysore, two factors were taken into consideration: backward classes and more backward classes. So there was a segregation between backward classes and more backward classes. So here, backward classes and more backward classes were segregated. Those who are more backward classes will be obviously given a preference with regard to reservation, and therefore Article 15 contemplates on backward classes and more backward classes. Therefore, through the case M.R. Balaji, we have to understand that it was really important to differentiate and identify socially and educationally backward classes, and therefore it was really important to consider both of them. It is not that we will consider any one of it. We have to consider both of them in order to make this criterion so as to identify who are backward and more backward, and therefore the preference to be given accordingly. So basically, this segregation, what we are trying to do in Article 15 clause 3 and clause 4 is to give them a protective discrimination. This is known as protective discrimination. We are trying to protect a certain trying to protect a certain class of the society, some kind of people, and accordingly the Article 15 clause 3 and 4 was introduced. Article 15 clause 4 was introduced to give it a parity to Article 29, wherein we are trying to differentiate certain kind of people who are socially and educationally backward, and together socially and educationally who are backward, we are trying to give them certain kind of protective reservation. The same has been held in the case of Saurav Chaudhary versus Union of India, wherein it was very much stated that domicile can be a criterion for reservation. Domicile can be a criterion for reservation, since domicile is not place of birth. There is a difference between place of birth and domicile. Place of birth is a classification, there cannot be a classification on place of birth as stated in Article 15 clause 1, but since domicile is not mentioned, accordingly we can make a classification on the basis of domicile, and accordingly we can find that certain kind of people, certain group of people who are backward, who have been considered to be backward due to their social status or something, and accordingly if they are socially and educationally backward, based on their domicile, based where they are domiciled, certain reservation is given to them. As we have found that in case of MBBS reservation also, some states have their own domicile reservation. Article 15, it introduced in case of Article 15 gave provision for reservation in private institution as well. So therefore, the institutions which are not owned by state, not governed by state, the private institution, on the basis of criterion which is laid down in Article 15 clause 3 and 4. Therefore, to sum it up, Article 15 clause 1, certain criterions are there: sex, caste, place of birth, and these are the criterions which are to be taken into consideration, and therefore equality has to be maintained. Article 15 clause 2 gives special provision to the lower caste people, the Harijans, the lower category Hindus, the lower caste Hindus who were not allowed to use certain public benefits like wells, tanks, roads, shops and all. So in order to give them the benefit that they used to enjoy, the higher class, higher Brahmins used to enjoy, that clause was there. Now Article 15.3 is basically to protect them. Article 15.3 is basically to protect the women and children, since these people are the underprivileged part of the society, and to make them at par with the society or the men, these provisions were introduced, and this was known as protective discrimination, and this protective discrimination was to eradicate the unparity or imbalance in the society. Therefore, reservation for women, 50% of the reservation is done in favor of women, then also it is fine. And the basic purpose was to eliminate the socio-economic backwardness of the women. So this is all we have with regard to Article 15. If you have any doubt, do drop in a message and I'll try to give a resolution to the query, and please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.